one of my last videos, I talked about not liking K-pop, despising everything about K-pop, and then I ended up liking them and even auditioning for K-pop. This time, we're going to talk about me being in my fanfiction era in K-pop. With that, I'm also gonna do my makeup. I'm barefaced right now, so I'm gonna yap while I do my makeup. Let's talk about why I even got into K-pop in the first place. Well, I've already talked about that in my first video, wherein I tell that I got amazed by DNA, by BTS, and then I eventually danced to every Blackpink song there was, and then it just continued to do so until I made a K-pop dance account video. No wait, a K-pop dance account channel on here on YouTube. It's still up. I still upload it on it like every other day because I really like dancing. But since today's topic is fanfiction, let me tell you how obsessed I was with my fanfictions before. If you don't know, fanfictions is basically where fans would make up fake stories about you, and then they would just be shipping with other people, or they would be shipping you with this character named YN. YN means your name, and there's this debate on how YN is said. Some people say that it's Yin, some people see it as your name, which the meaning of YN, but me, I always said it was YN. YN is used as like an OC reader X celebrity in the fanfiction genre. Right now you see it mostly in AO3, Archive of Our Own, which I also read on sometimes if I want some nanami fix, you know. But before, I used to read my fanfictions on YouTube on my mom's account. It was on YouTube before, and it was made like by 13-year-olds or by those. The fanfictions that I would always read when I was younger was like it's even cringe saying it now. It was like obsessed husband, obsessed boyfriend, or like the cold husband, cold boyfriend, arranged marriage. Actually, it's still very rampant these days, but I don't read it as much as I did before, because before it was like a habit for me that I just couldn't break out of. Every night I would search up my fanfictions, and on YouTube I would search up like the name of the celebrity that I was always going to read on, which was BTS Taeyong and Jungkook, and I think I read every fanfiction of every member. But I feel like one member, which was my bias, I never really read a lot because he was like the nicest one, the nicest person looking on, so he wasn't like the gangster kind of look, and I always read the gangster kind of look. I was 13, okay, let me just reiterate that. But I guess like it's still in my type these days to be attracted to people who are much more bold looking, you know, the ones that are against the social norms, the ones that look like a bad boy, okay, not by their attitude but just by their looks, by their fashion sense. That's the kind of guys that are like, I don't know why I'm even saying that, but yeah, that's mostly the videos that I was always watching. Now you might be curious on why I'm reading on YouTube when it's a video. It's because on PowerPoints, you know, there will be a photo and there would be a line that says like, Yin, she fell down the stairs, and then Taeyong glared at her, stuff like that. And it would be on YouTube because you would need like the scenery of it, where is it set. And then there was always this photo of a girl who was so prevalent at that time that was always used as YN. And I know that you also know this, especially if you've had your K-pop phase. The girls or YN would always have like a messy bun like this, you know? And then she would have an off shoulder like this, or like a loose clothes, and then she would always be petite. She would always be like blue orbs. It's so cringe saying it, but yeah, that was the norm before. That was how it was. And I'm gonna tell you how my mom found out. found out. Wrong grammar, bro. I still used my mom's account back then because I never really had my own account. And in our family, you only get a phone once you've turned 13 or like a little older, because I was in 7th grade when I got my first phone. So I was sharing my mom's phone. And then I went into YouTube and I searched up the usual stuff like Taeyong fanfictions. When I got home, because I was in school, I was like looking it up every night. And then I got home and then I was gonna search up something on Google. And then I saw like Taeyong FF meaning. FF means fanfiction. And then I never searched on Google. So that means I forgot to remove the search on YouTube on my mom's phone, and then she saw it and then she Googled what it was. It was the most embarrassing thing, so I just deleted it. Oh my god. Another thing that's also prevalent with fanfictions is definitely where YN worked. YN always worked at a cafe, at a convenience store, or she was always poor. And then the celebrity will always be rich. Why? Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that, my 13-year-old self? But yeah, that was the thing. That was very prevalent before. Another thing, if you're not much on like the K-pop field, I'm gonna tell you now. BTS was like my main, right? And then in every fan fiction of BTS, another girl group called Blackpink will always be your enemy as a reader. You know, when you read the fan fiction, you're being shipped with the celebrity that you're like in BTS. Your main opponent would always be Blackpink. And then there will always be a big party. In every scenario, in every kind of fanfiction, there will be a big party which is gonna be held by, what's his name? What was his name? Kai? No, it wasn't Kai. Anyway, EXO was always gonna be your second lead. Anyone in EXO or EXO as a whole is gonna be the second lead. Jackson Wang will always be holding a party in every fanfiction that you will see, and then in that party you're either gonna meet every BTS member who likes you, or there's gonna be like a big problem in that party, or you're gonna be kissing in that party, stuff like that, you know. I want to reiterate, I was 13. I liked that stuff when I was 13. The part of my life that was like very much weird, it's very new to the world. No, she doesn't care about anything but the fan fictions and her idol people. Oh, another weird thing is that when you read the fan fictions, sometimes they are werewolves and they will be turning into werewolves, or they might be turning into vampires and you're gonna be bitten. And then you're gonna be also into vampires. You're gonna be a vampire too. Or another thing that scenarios would be the lockers. He would do this, like, what's up? It's cringe. It is, but I enjoyed it. That was my fanfiction era. So let's talk about my AO3 era now. Let me tell you, bro, before you find me cringe. Everyone reads at AO3. Everyone reads cringe. People might be saying that's so cringe, but I swear to God, they're also reading stuff like that. Me, I read a lot of Nanami X Reader. I like Nanami, so what? And another thing that I did is that I introduced it to my friend. My friend also got obsessed with it. And then I kept telling her, let's make a fan fiction of our own, because we can do that. So we did. We wrote it on like a half pad paper. Hold on, let me show you. So this is a whole pad, right? And then when you're in 3rd grade, your pad is always gonna be just half, just like this. And we were like in 5th grade. I think it was also like this, but we only had the half one, like this. So I told her, come on, let's write. We can do this. And then we will be so popular because we wrote this. So we did. And then the premise was like, so YN's supposed to be you, the reader. But like, I never really put myself in that scenario. I was role playing. I wasn't really YN. I think people are still doing fan fictions right now, but not as rampant as before. But that's probably because I don't look it up anymore. Oh, another version of fan fictions that I also read was AUs. AUs is basically alternative universe. Was just basically the same as a fan fiction. You would do whatever you want in the storyline. And then I read that shit 24/7 before. Also in my K-pop era, I would read like a ship fan fictions. Because in K-pop, if you're not very familiar with the fandom, when you're standing someone, there would be ships. Like a member and then another member being shipped. That's just the norm, I guess. And then I read the ships as if they were in a BL comedy drama. And then I cried, you know. Another thing about fictions, I also cried because of fan fiction, because we need to break up, we need to part ways because their parents doesn't like me. Stuff like that. I also cried at that shit, like literally tears. And then my parents would see me, my siblings also, and were like, "Why are you crying?" I said, "No, I just read something really sad. I was reading a fan fiction. It's embarrassing, but reminiscing on it makes it really funny." I'm sure you had your embarrassing moments too when it comes to fan fictions. In anime, I don't think I read a fan fiction in an anime. That's the fan fiction. But a BL one, I don't think I have. The only anime fan fiction that I've ever read was Nanami, because Nanami's GOAT, bruh. Nanami's he's my favorite character in every anime that I could ever watch. Is always Nanami. Anyway, here's the final look. That's it. Bye!